Inflammation plays a massive role when it comes to every aspect of life, mental and physical. We need to understand that part of it. Otherwise, just eating healthy and just exercising, when we're not taking care of our stress and our finances and other things, you're not going to succeed.
Welcome to this exciting episode of You Can Beat It, the natural way. And now let's join Coach Maurice as he shares his expert strategies for conquering life's toughest challenges, one powerful punch at a time. Prepare to be inspired and equipped to take on whatever comes your way.
Today I want to discuss with you one of my favorite topics because it's a topic that is truly misunderstood and most people don't really understand enough about it. They just know they live with it every day. And probably 2/3 of Americans and people around the world suffer with this topic on a daily basis. And that topic is your inflammation, right? So what is inflammation? People in general understand inflammation as just a form of pain. When pain happens, there's inflammation taking place. What else is defined as inflammation? Did you know that when you have headaches, it's a form of inflammation? When your heart rate goes up due to stress, the body is inflamed. So we can look at injuries, for example, when we fall and it bruises. That's a form of inflammation. So inflammation happens every day in life. It can happen in our brain when we're stressed. The brain is inflamed. Why? It's hot. Why does it get hot? Because blood pressure goes up. When the blood pressure goes up, everything is heated up, right? What's always the answer to inflammation? It's anti-inflammatory medications, ibuprofen, aspirin, Tylenol. The list goes on and on. Okay, we know that those things work. They've been tested. There's some side effects with some of them if they're taken long term. But that's not the answer to taking care of your inflammation. Today we're going to discuss the natural way to take care of your inflammation and dive deep into the true meaning of understanding inflammation and how you can control inflammation the natural way. Right? You can beat it. It's never going to go away, but you can control it if you have the right strategy and if you stick with it on a daily basis. Every time your body is under duress of any form, whether it's an accident, financial stress, relationship stress, whatever the issue is, the body is under duress causing inflammation. When we talk about inflammation, and when I teach classes and when I coach individuals, I focus that a lot. As a coach, I focus on relationship. I focus on what is stressing you, because don't just come to me and tell me my diabetes is high, my blood pressure is high, I need to lose weight. It's not just diet and exercise that causes those things to get better. Exercise and eating healthy is two key pieces when it comes to losing weight and coming off medications and living a good quality lifestyle. But there's more to that than just diet and exercise. If I had just a penny every time somebody told me, Maurice, but I exercise and I eat right and I can't lose weight, well, then this is why having a great coach that understands how to coach you, they don't just focus on the diet and the exercise. They start asking personal questions. How's your relationship with your spouse? How's your relationship at work? How's your relationship with your kids? What's stressing you? Right? Because every time the body's under duress and it's inflamed, the body releases a hormone called cortisol. Oh, okay. This is God's creation. That's why I love my Lord so much. If we just believe and understand how the body is made, maybe we will put more effort into making time to exercise, making time to read the Bible, making time to love on our family and not look somewhere else, making time to do all the right things every day. Your faith is key, and it does tie to all that we're discussing. What's the side effect of cortisol every time you're under duress? Starting with weight gain, especially in the midsection. When you gain weight in your midsection, this is where the health issue develops, from heart disease to diabetes to depression, and the list goes on and on. Again, if you're gaining weight below the hip, that's considered cosmetic. It has no health issues. It does not affect mood swings or cause heart disease. But when you gain it in the midsection, you have a problem. Remember the numbers I shared with you before. If you wear size 40 plus, Not good. Depression is high, diabetes is likely, heart disease, the list goes on and on. And for you ladies, you got to be below size 20 when it comes to your dresses. So those matters because we do focus on the midsection. So we know that when you're stressed, weight gain, especially in the abdominal area, becomes an issue. Exercise all you want, drink the water, eat healthy, it's a plus. But without lowering your stress, you're not going to be able to accomplish your ultimate goal. What else? Did you know that you lose muscle quicker when you're stressed? Your blood pressure goes up, that your insulin goes up. I've always said, what good is it to take your medication when you don't eat right, watch your sugar intake, for example, and also lower your stress, lower your cortisol level? Because you can take your medication, but if you stay stressed, your cortisol stays high, the body activates fat cells production. Every time your cortisol activates, the body produces fat cells production, causing the body to gain weight. And if you're dieting and exercising, your body is not going to lose weight like it should because of that darn hormone called cortisol. What else? Osteoporosis. What is inflammation? Most of us understand inflammation that have osteoporosis or that have joints problems. What do they recommend? Ibuprofen. Not good for your kidneys, but it does work. You don't want to take it long term. What else? Ice. Why? Because it cools it off. Did you know if you have a headache, instead of taking an aspirin, you can lower the medication just by putting an ice pack on your head for about 10 minutes? Boom, the headache goes away. Why? Now, you can take a pill. You have to wait for the pill to reach the bloodstream before it can reach your brain. It could be as much as 20 minutes before you start feeling better. The headache was a form of swelling taking place in your brain. Instead, we pop pills, allowing blood flow to go in. That's why an aspirin is good on ibuprofen, because it thins your blood. When it does, it can travel quicker through the veins, reach in your brain, causing the brain to cycle more blood, because when swelling develops, the blood circulation decreases because the veins are swelled up and they can't pump enough blood in and out. The body's way of telling you, hey, we got a problem. There's inflammation, slowing down the blood flow, causing you a headache. Instead, we take aspirin instead of drinking water. That's one factor. And also putting an ice pack on. That being said, we know that osteoporosis is the inflamed joints, and you can take ibuprofen, you can apply ice, but until you lower your cortisol levels and lower your body weight, you're going to have issue with inflammation. Did you know every step you take, you're applying 3 to 5 times your body weight on your knees and ankles? Every time you take a step. So if you're 20 pounds overweight, 50 pounds overweight, 100 pounds overweight, and you apply 2 to 3 times your body weight on your knees and ankles, and you want to tell me your ankles are swelled up and your knees and you can't go up and down the stairs and you can't walk, hello? You got to lose the weight. It's not a rocket science. You got to get the weight off, and you need to do it the natural way. You also need to apply ice more often than you would the pills if you can, because there's no side effect to ice. And you got to lower your stress level. You got to lower your cortisol level. There's no other way around it. Did you know also cortisol affects your mood swings? Anxiety and depression increases when cortisol levels are high. Again, we take medications for antidepressant, for anxiety. The average American takes more pills than anyone else in the world because we have one for depression, we have one for obesity, we have one for our heart, we have a pill for diabetes, we have a pill for blood pressure, and the list goes on and on. When exercise and the 4 pillars are the key to help you become more balanced, and get off a lot of those medications by your doctor's orders, right? And what else? Did you know that the cortisol level due to inflammation can suppress immune function? Your immune system is affected. You're likely to get sicker more often, and you're exposed to things like COVID and other things that if you're already over the age of 60 with fragile health, it's likely to end up putting you in a nursing home or a hospital if you're not careful with yourself. So again, stress causes weight gain, wastes muscle, raises blood pressure, raises your insulin, increases the osteoporosis inflammation. The joints inflammation, the osteoporosis. It affects your mood swings and suppresses immune functions. So we know that stress plays a massive, massive role. We know that endorphins, the more endorphins the body releases, the less cortisol. So every time you're stressed, how do you lower stress at that point? Go for a walk for 20, 30 minutes, come back, you feel better. Unbelievable. Why? You increased the endorphin. If you laugh, you can lower cortisol. If you walk, you can lower cortisol. If you get a good night of sleep, you lower cortisol. You eat healthy food, we'll talk about that in a moment, and drink water, you lower cortisol. Because the body is getting what it needs. When it doesn't, it inflames because it is starved and it doesn't get what it needs. Inflammation plays a massive role when it comes to every aspect of life, mental and physical. We need to understand that part of it. Otherwise, just eating healthy and just exercising, when we're not taking care of our stress and our finances and other things, you're not going to succeed. Okay? So let's talk about your diet and anti-inflammatory. I love Mediterranean diet. When it comes to diet and when it comes to what kind of diet you should follow, of course, follow mine because I teach the Mediterranean type of diets, a lot of greens and a lot of vegetables, some fruits. I'm not crazy about fruits, but in moderation, fruits are good for you, just knowing when to eat them. If, again, continue to follow my program, you're going to learn all the details. So some of the food that you can add that can help lower cortisol level, things like berries, all kind of berries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, leafy green, broccoli, tomatoes, all these things can help. Eat food that's more in omega-3 fat, high in omega-3 fat, like salmon and sardines and flax seeds and chia seeds and walnuts. All these things are extremely beneficial to the body and to help you lower cortisol level. Those are considered anti-inflammatory food. In the form of spices, we know that turmeric is important, and it should be with black pepper. Also, ginger and garlic plays a huge role. This is why Mediterranean diet is so healthy for us, not just when it comes to diabetes and weight loss, but because we use a lot of the olive oil and the garlic and the lemon juice. All those food are considered anti-inflammatory food. Healthy fats. You really need to increase the healthy fat and cut back on the bad fat. Did you know fried food can increase your inflammation? Did you know that sweeteners can increase your inflammations? Every time you sweeten low and stevia and all that junk that are man-made, you're actually increasing your inflammation. You think you're lowering your diabetes and your calories. You got your whole process upside down. So we know that healthy fat or good fat like olive oil and avocados, whole grain like oats and brown rice, those are good for you. Green tea in moderation is good for you. All those things are considered anti-inflammatory diet. You need to avoid food that can increase your inflammation, such as processed food, chips, and fast food. How many Americans eat that daily? 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We think we have to have chips with every sandwich we eat. It's insane. Instead of getting a vegetable on the side or doing something healthy on the side, like a salad, or do something instead of always chips and French fries and chips and French fries. Every time you eat something fried, you're increasing your inflammation. So if you're taking more medication for your inflammation because you're not changing your diet, that's on you. You can't continue to live chasing food because your body is looking for endorphins. And instead of giving it the endorphins the natural way with exercise and laughing and hanging out with your wife and being happy and content, you're chasing it with food to keep your cortisol level down when in reality it's increasing it. Because when you eat the food, it raises your endorphins. In this case, it's not going to help you lower your cortisol level. You want to try to avoid red meat as much as possible because of the uric acid. Did you know if you have gout, you should not be eating red meat except a couple of times a week? Anything that's high in the uric acid is going to inflame your body. That's what gout is. It's inflammation that causes people to the point where they can't walk or move. It swells up their toes, their hands. It's horrible, horrible. It's extremely painful. It's what they tell me anyway, and all the reading I've done about it. It is horrible. It's all diet related because your body cannot process the uric acid. Okay? That's why we call it urinate. It's uric plus water equals to urinate. It's uric acid. When you urinate, you're releasing the uric acid that is developed from acidic food like tomatoes, etc., and especially red meat. And pork and all of that is going to increase your inflammation. And worst time to eat that stuff is late at night because you eat it and you go straight to bed and it's going to just simmer in your body all night long. You'll wake up in the morning, you can't even walk to the bathroom to use the bathroom. Your toes are killing you, your back is killing you. Don't eat red meat late at night. At the very least, if you're going to eat a small portion and eat it at lunch. Okay, giving your body enough time to get rid of a lot of that uric acid. Drinking water helps you get rid of a lot of the uric acid. Adding lemon juice to the water helps you get rid of that uric acid. The more of the uric acid you get rid of, inflammation is what I call uric acid, the healthier the body's going to feel, the less pain you're going to have, the more likely you want to go for a walk now. So inflammation can slow you down from working out, can slow you down from losing weight, can slow you down from going to work and providing for your family, can keep you from going to church because you're in constant pain. Are you doing something about it, or are you just living waiting on doctors to give you more medications thinking that's the answer, when in reality you're not moving 30 minutes a day, you're not drinking your 64 ounces of water a day, you're not getting your 7 to 9 hours of sleep and sticking with the schedule 7 days a week, your sleep schedule, you're not doing any of the 4 pillars. But yet we become so dependent on doctors, we think there's a pill for everything. Another thing you can do to combat inflammation is get quality sleep. Poor sleep increases inflammation marker like CRP and IL-6. Those are scientifically proven. Poor sleep increases inflammatory mark, and you got to aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and you got to do it 365 days a year unless, you have an emergency. Chronic stress equals Chronic inflammation. What's the first thing that stresses in your body that causes inflammation when stress is high? What's the first thing that inflames? Your brain. Okay? And from there, it's a downhill factor. You're screaming, you're yelling, you don't want to talk to anybody, you're stomping your feet, you're walking around with a look on your face, you're all upset, your brain is inflamed, you can't think straight. One of the things I taught my kids growing up is never, ever make a decision under duress. There's a word that I use a lot, and there's the 4 letters, and I'm going to give it to you because every time you experience any of those 4 things, stop. It's called HALT. HALT. HALT stands for don't ever make a decision when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. What do those 4 things have in common? They all increase inflammation. When you're hungry, again, chronic stress equals to chronic inflammation. You've got to be able to control that. So we know that the lack of food or too much food and the way we treat food in this country is a big issue. And for me to help you lower your diabetes and lose weight and do all these things, we've got to control the stress. We know that regular exercise every day can help increase endorphins, and that would help with the stress tremendously. Also, being exposed to the sun at the right time of the day, not during the day when it's really hot in the middle of the day. We know that vitamin D and sunshine are linked to higher inflammation, but at the same time, they can increase your endorphins level. So don't go out when it's really hot. Go out early in the morning and late in the evening. We're talking about summer months only. The rest of the year, you can go out. But being out for 30 minutes a day helps you a lot to lower your stress. Here's another one also. Stay hydrated. It is important because when you don't drink enough water, especially in the summer, the blood gets thicker. It's going to be harder for the heart to pump the blood, which is causing more strain on the heart. It's bad for your kidneys because you're not flushing the uric acid out of your kidneys. Staying hydrated is key. 64 ounces of water is minimum. So in the summer, when you're working outside in the yard, you got to always mix your water and Gatorade properly. Get a bottle of water, mix 2/3 water, 1/3 Gatorade. Always make sure your electrolytes and your sodium with your water are available when you're out in the sun working. Stay hydrated, otherwise inflammation goes up. And natural supplements, you always want to consult with your doctor first. We know things that lower inflammation would be omega-3, okay, ginger extract, probiotics. I do those daily, very important for our health. It supports gut health, which affects inflammation. Black pepper and other supplements are very good for you. You can Google those. Supplements do work, and I always recommend you take those at night. And I always take my supplements aside from my medications. So I take my medications, and I'll wait an hour or two, then I'll do my supplements. I'm big on doing supplements late at night because I want them in my system being absorbed properly throughout the night during the 7 to 9 hours that I'm asleep. I believe they're going to work better based on the science research I've done. Other things that can help you lower inflammation is when we talk about why diet matters, because it increases the probiotics and the prebiotics. It increases both of them, and that's going to help you with your inflammation. Eat more yogurt, sauerkraut, more garlic, onions, bananas, asparagus. All those things are a big plus when it comes to combating inflammation. Inflammation, in which now we know that stress is the #1 killer in America. Why? Because we know that stress equals inflammation. Inflammation messes up everything. Blood flow, how your brain functions, the ability to sleep, your relationships. It affects everything. So let's take care of that inflammation, folks. Let's not make just exercise and nutrition the focus when we want to be overall healthy. The program is called You Can Beat It for a reason, because there's so many pieces to the puzzle that once you figure out all the pieces, you will totally understand how you just beat all the side effects and the things you want to improve in your own personal life. You want to lose weight. You want to decrease and come off medications. You want to be around long enough to enjoy your grandkids and your kids and be able to go outside and play with them. You got to lower inflammation. You got to have more energy. You want to be leaner. You don't want to be overweight. All the 4 pillars are key to your life. Before you go join any gym, before you do anything, you make sure you share the 4 pillars with your friends and family members. They need to learn the truth behind the body. They need to know how to really stack up their program in a way that is effective. Did you know if you overtrain, you increase inflammation, by the way? I should have mentioned that earlier. You shouldn't have to work out more than 30 minutes a day. You shouldn't work out in the heat of the day. Everything in moderation is acceptable, and if you overdo even exercise, it can be damaging for you. So too much of anything is not good for you. Everything in moderation is so much better for you. So let's lower that inflammation. Let's walk a little bit more, and let's improve our overall health Remember, you don't have to be perfect to be healthy. You just have to be consistent. 80% good, 20% bad. We're not looking for perfection. I'm looking for balance. So please, give me that 64 ounces of water a day. Outside of water, you allow 2 drinks around 10 ounces each. It can be a beer, 10 to 12 ounces. It can be a beer, it can be a glass of wine, a diet soda, it can be a glass of tea or coffee. Anything in moderation is acceptable. Manage your calories so your body is not inflamed, because that will help you to stay more focused, less pain, less medication. Everything comes together. So keep me posted, folks. Email me. Let me know how you're doing. And if you have any questions, keep us posted. Thank you for listening. We'll talk next week.
Thank you for listening to You Can Beat It the Natural Way. We invite you to visit youcanbeatit.com for more information.